The days of the 60s, there was certainly no segregation then, of course, and football hooliganism was in its infancy. It wasn't until the later 60s that away supporters really came to be looked on as species apart, and even then it was quite feasible to mix the Scousers or Cockneys and actually talk about the match in fun. But people may remember before the Longside, when the what was the terrace was full of cinders, and of course there was no roof on, and of course when it rained all the heads were wet. They were crammed together, no bodies got wet, just the heads. That was before the Longsides. There were many incidents, but most of the ones I remember were fairly harmless, like the Liverpool supporter who created his own area of terracing by not bothering to walk round to the toilets. Amazing stuff. A few years later, of course, such scenes were unthinkable as the barriers and fences went up, and keeping the yobs apart at the same time ensuring that the normal communication was out for the rest of us. Then there was that relegation, probably saved Turf Moor from the worst of the trouble that was rife in the late 70s. But remember, Celtic's visit in 1978 won't be forgotten by many who were there. The away end could not hold all the visiting hooligans, and the result was inevitable. That was the Longside's worst nightmare in memory, at least, which certainly Wallace Chadwick could remember, some of his excerpts coming from these memories of the Longside. Every ground has its own special terrace, or at least did until Lord Justice Taylor decreed otherwise. One of the beauties of Burnley's lay in its name, Longside, not the usual area behind the goal where the atmosphere is. Apart from being my preferred viewpoint, the layout of Turf Moor has always seemed to give the Longside its unique atmosphere and the sheer renaissance of sound it generates when there is a big crowd or when things are going well on the pitch. There isn't much original of the world of football songs, but Burnley fans have contributed their share to this famous Longside. Favourite players have inspired some of the best and most inspiring Hallelujah chorus for Willie Morgan, Rod Stewart sailing among others, for Uwe Noble, whose hymn of praise sometimes went on for such as 20 minutes, D-O-B-O Dobbo, and more recently Pierce Pierce gives us a dance. And tuneless and repetitive as it may be, Jimmy Mullen's Claret and Blue Army must certainly have been worth a goal or two in those days. The Longside has been some good and bad times. Modern safety regulations ensure that terraces can no longer be truly packed out. But when the Longside was, I dispute that any football ground in the land was a more exciting place to be than Turf Moor. It didn't matter if your view was less than perfect, but apart from that, it was what counted. Better than in those days in the mid-80s, when the view was always perfect and you could pick up your own square yard of space. But even then, the atmosphere never really died here at Turf Moor. This is a sad day, and I could go on at length about why I believe Taylor got it wrong, but it isn't the place for that. The new Turf Moor will no doubt be much improved in all the ways we're told are important. But it's hard to imagine that the atmosphere will ever be the same again. The atmosphere makers will disapprice, and if I suspect many will defect from the time being to the Ensley stand, they won't be able to create the barrage of sound that's so much a part of the match day experience. So let's hope the Clarets really turn it on today, and that the Longside is heard in all its glory for the very last time. Gets a throw in from it for McMinn. Good cross is called for Highland. Oh, he heads it wide. This is MacDonald. Nogan. Good space was created by Nogan, and oh, and just a bender at the far post. Took a deflection, Kurt Nogan's sizzler. Hull City number 4, now Vinicum. A chance on his right foot, a good shot and a good save, and there's Cook. Here's Peacock now for Hull City. Effort, oh, not a bad effort. Corner, good save too. Dean Widnes, the man testing Marlon Beresford. Twists and turns on that far side. Back in favour, the Tin Man. And, well, Burnley managed to gain possession. Cook, now then, Kurt Nogan, a goal! 1-0. That's some way to celebrate the end of the Longside. Kurt Nogan blasts Burnley into a 1-0 lead. A left foot shot which practically burst the net on 40 minutes. Now then, there's McDonald now. Perhaps he could have a shot on goal, but he's closed down edge of the area. Plays it wide for McMinn. And a good effort from McMinn and a good save from Wilson. Failed to hold. And a real thunderous shot from the Tin Man. And Andy Williams now for Hull. Here's Fewings, play on. Good save from Marlon Beresford at the second attempt. Harrison, can he carve something out of this one? Harrison, he's got Matt Cook here. Oh, and a goal, an own goal from the fullback, Allison, and that caps it off for the Clarets. There's a good cross from Andy Cook, put in by Allison, the number 2, and Burnley have a 2-0 lead here, and that should be it. And the referee blows for full time. On the day the Longside closed, it's Burnley 2, Hull City 1. And it's 3 points whichever way you look at it.